One man changed the fate of more people than the First World War. He destroyed cities that were never rebuilt for 200 years. And at the same time, he introduced religious freedom and created the first international postal system. His name was Genghis Khan. And almost everything you know about him is wrong. In the 12th century, there were no cities in what is now Mongolia. No writing, no unified state, no common law. There was only the steppe. Dozens of tribes moved across it. They fought each other constantly. Life expectancy was around 30 years. Winter brought extreme cold. Summer brought drought. The only real wealth was livestock. Lose your herd and your family was doomed. Raids were not cruelty. They were survival. There were many tribes. All of them lived in constant conflict. Today you were an ally. Tomorrow you were an enemy. Survival was not about strength. It was about intelligence and adaptability. The system fed on itself. An endless cycle of violence. Around 1162, a boy was born. His name was Temujin. He would be the one to break this cycle. But his methods would shock even the steppe. First, he had to survive childhood, and that would not be easy. Temujin's father was Yesugei, a leader of a small clan. His mother was taken by him from another man on her wedding day. This was considered normal. Temujin was born holding a clot of blood. People believed it meant he would become a great warrior, or maybe it was just a coincidence. At 9 years old, his father took him to arrange a marriage. On the way, they met a group who offered them food. The food was poisoned. He returned home, but did not survive. Temujin was 9 years old. He became the head of the family. The clan refused to follow a child. They took everything and left. His family was abandoned in the steppe. They survived by gathering what they could. Temujin learned to hunt. He learned not to give up. At 13, a serious conflict began inside the family. It ended in tragedy. His mother was devastated. Temujin did not regret it. There was not enough for everyone. From the beginning, he chose survival over everything else. At 15, he was captured by his father's enemies. They locked him in a wooden collar. He escaped. He hid in the river for hours. A family risked everything to protect him. He remembered their names. He never forgot anyone who helped him. And he never forgot anything else either. At 17, he married Borte. The dowry was a black sable coat. He gave it away to form an alliance. He was already thinking like a leader. Soon after, another tribe attacked. His wife was taken. It was revenge from the past. He gathered allies and went to rescue her. She was saved, but she was expecting a child. He accepted the child as his own. His name was Yoki. This decision would later cause serious conflict, but that was still far in the future. First, he had to conquer the steppe, and no one had ever united it before. By the 1190s, Temujin had already become a significant figure, but he was still one of many leaders. The question was simple. Why did people choose to follow him? In the steppe, no one followed the weak, and even fear could not hold loyalty for long. Temujin offered something different. First, merit over birth. A former enemy could become a general. A blacksmith's son could command armies. In a world built on family ties, this was revolutionary. Second, loyalty to the leader, not the tribe. A sworn warrior gained protection and opportunity, and a share of everything. But betrayal was punished immediately. Third, strict discipline. No one was left behind. No one acted without orders. This turned riders into an army. In 1206, everything changed. The tribes gathered together. His rivals had already been defeated. For the first time, the steppe was united. He was given a new name, Genghis Khan, the ruler of all. He was about 44 years old. He had just 21 years left. In that time, he would control more land than anyone before or after. The first thing he did was create law, a system of rules for everyone. Stealing livestock was forbidden. Taking people by force was forbidden. Different beliefs were allowed. Messengers were protected. Even water had to be respected. Punishments were harsh, but the rules applied to everyone. For the first time, there was order. Now they had a state. The only question was what to do with it. And this is where the real story begins. The Mongol army was not large compared to its enemies. Some armies had hundreds of thousands. Genghis Khan had far fewer. Yet they defeated everyone. The first reason was speed. Each warrior had several horses. They could travel incredible distances in a single day. Others moved much slower. It was not the same kind of war. The second reason was intelligence. They studied their enemies carefully. They knew more about their opponents than anyone else. The third reason was fear. Some cities surrendered immediately. Others resisted and faced consequences. The next city would hear the story and often choose surrender. The fourth reason was adaptability. They quickly learned new technologies. Every campaign made them stronger. The fifth reason was flexible command. They reacted faster than their enemies. And finally, they never stopped. Every victory led to the next one. War was their way of life. Peace was only a pause. Now let's see how this worked in reality. We start with one place, because what happened there changed everything. In 1218, there was one of the largest empires in the world. It was powerful, wealthy, and full of life. Its army was massive. Genghis Khan sent a trade caravan. It was a message of peace and cooperation. The ruler made a decision. The caravan was seized. The traders did not return. Genghis Khan sent envoys to demand an explanation. The response was an insult. That changed everything. In 1219, he marched. His army moved in several directions at once. The enemy could not concentrate their forces. Cities began to fall. Some surrendered without a fight. The ruler fled. He was chased across his entire empire. In the end, he died alone. Some cities never recovered. They were left empty. Even witnesses struggled to describe what happened. They said nothing like it had ever been seen. Entire regions changed forever. Trade routes went silent. And then he moved on. His commanders pushed even further. They reached lands no one expected, and then they disappeared again. In 1223, a Mongol force moved west. They defeated several tribes along the way and reached the borders of new lands. Local allies asked for help. A large army was formed against them. The battle ended in a complete defeat. The result shocked everyone. Then the Mongols left. It seemed like the danger had passed, but it was only a razvedka. In 1237, they returned. City after city fell. Within years, the region was under control. Then they moved further west. European armies were defeated. Their advance reached deep into Europe. Leaders called for resistance. Few responded. And then they stopped. Why? The official reason was a change of leadership. But there were other factors. The terrain was no longer ideal. The cost was growing. So they turned back. Europe never knew how close it came. Meanwhile, the empire kept growing. And in the east, something even bigger was coming. China was the most advanced civilization of its time. Cities with millions of people. Technology far ahead of the rest of the world. And a wall built to stop invaders. Genghis Khan attacked in 1211. At first, he won in open battles. But the cities held, so they adapted. They learned new methods and brought down the defenses. In 1227, Genghis Khan died, most likely from an accident. His burial place remains unknown. The location was kept secret, but his legacy continued. His grandson completed the conquest. A steppe ruler became emperor. A traveler from Europe arrived. He saw things no one believed. Paper money and new resources. No one believed his stories. The empire tried to expand further, but nature stopped them. A storm changed everything. At its peak, the empire was enormous. A large part of the world lived under its rule. But at its peak, it began to break apart. Before we talk about collapse, we need to talk about what they built. After conquest came something unexpected. A period of stability across a massive territory. A merchant could travel thousands of kilometers safely, without constant borders or restrictions. A fast communication system connected the empire. Messages moved incredibly fast, faster than anything seen before. Trade flourished. Ideas moved with goods. Technology spread across continents. And so did something else. Disease followed the same roads. It reached far lands quickly and changed populations forever. At the same time, religions coexisted. Different beliefs were allowed to speak freely. The ruler listened to all of them, but chose none. It was a system that worked for a time, until internal conflicts began, and the empire started to fracture. After Genghis Khan's death, the empire was divided. His sons ruled different regions. In theory, it was still one empire. In reality, it was not. There were too few Mongols to control such a vast land. To rule China, they had to become part of it. To rule Persia, they had to adapt there as well. Over time, they changed and became something else. The conquerors blended into the conquered. They won militarily, but lost culturally. Within generations, they adopted new identities. In 1368, the Mongol rule in China ended. They returned to the steppe. A new conqueror appeared. He tried to rebuild the empire, but it did not last. Meanwhile, the Mongols lost their own lands. They were pushed from all sides. Eventually, they became subjects of others. But their story did not end there. Let's start with numbers. Tens of millions of people were affected, up to 15% of humanity. Entire regions were left empty. Forests grew back. Even the climate changed. That was destruction. But what did they create? Modern states were shaped by their legacy. Systems of power, taxation and control, centralized rule. Even language carries traces of it. Power structures grew from this system. Entire empires followed their path, built by descendants of their world. Other powers rose because of them. Global trade expanded. Exploration followed. The world became connected because of them. Today, Mongolia is a small country, millions of square kilometers, and just a few million people. But one name dominates everything: Genghis Khan. Everywhere, not just pride. A reminder of what once was. In the 20th century, everything changed. Culture was nearly erased. A significant part of the population was lost. Then came change again. Today, old and new exist together. Tradition inside modern life. Life is still harsh and very different from the past. He wanted to rule the world. His descendants live in a small part of it. History has a sense of irony. The Mongol story is about one thing. Context defines everything. The same qualities made them unstoppable, and later became their weakness. To rule others, they became them and lost themselves. Genghis Khan understood this. The steppe was power. The city was a trap. His successors chose comfort and stopped being what made them strong. Every system built on movement fails when it stops. Armies, companies, civilizations. The empire lasted about 150 years, but its impact was far greater. It shaped the world we live in. Today, a small nation remembers him, not because he was perfect, but because he was real. The world changed because of him, forever.